Hey guys, it's Andrea. I'm out here in my garden today and I'm going to get this bed ready to plant my potatoes. There's still some green onions and leeks right here. So I want to transplant the green onions to my other bed so that I can have them interplanted with my tomatoes for the summer. And then I'm just going to harvest the leeks because they've been there since last spring is when I planted them. And I already harvested some of them before winter, but I'm going to go ahead and harvest the rest of them because I want to plant potatoes in here. So I'm going to dig these up and we're going to see if we can't transplant them today, these green onions. So I want to try to take some of the root with it. I'm going to try to take some of the root, not like just chop it off, but onions are pretty good about, like I'm just going to let all this dirt fall. And there it is. So I'm gonna put these in my little bucket over here so that we can transplant these in the other bed. So here's a big thing of onions, and I'm gonna try to separate them the best I can so that I can spread them out pretty good in the other garden bed. I'm not gonna worry about these itty bitties right here. I planted these last spring too, and I've cut off of them so many times. And if you just leave them in the ground, then they just grow back and you can cut them over and over again. So I'm gonna try to get some of this dirt off of them. There's one that here's a couple. Here's one that I cut recently, but you can see I cut it right here, and that's the new growth right there. So they just grow back really easy. So we're just gonna put these in our little basket right here, and we'll take those to the other garden bed once I get all these up. And I did plant them. When I planted them really close together. I didn't do too much spacing with these, but they have survived the winter great. And I don't remember what variety they are. I know I got them from Baker Creek. They're like a large green onion, or they're supposed to be. All summer they stayed really small, but then when it started cooling off, they started getting really big. And maybe they'll seed this summer and I can save some seeds from those. And the reason I'm moving these is because potatoes and onions really don't like to be planted close to each other. It deters both of them from doing their best and growing the best that they can. So I need to get them out of here so that I can put the potatoes in here. These two right here are a good example of them getting pretty big. They've got a pretty big stalk, but they're delicious. And I love having green onions. So that's it for those. Let's go on to the leeks. So these are the leeks. I planted these in the spring, last spring, and I did harvest some in the summer, but they were not near this big. This one's pretty big right here. So I'm just harvesting these. I'm not transplanting them because I really don't need seeds from these. and they really didn't do as good as I thought they would. I don't think that it gets too hot in the spring when they would normally grow. So they've been growing all winter and they survived, but we're gonna save these. I'm gonna put them in my little bucket here. And I tried to pull these up without digging them the other day, and it was just ripping these outside pieces off. They are really hard to pull, so that's why I decided to dig them. But this one is a pretty nice size. There's all the leeks, and we'll take those inside when we're done out here. So this right here, I don't know if you can see it, but this is parsley. So I'm gonna leave this because it grows so good in the spring. I planted this last spring, and by the time it got going, the little moths just chewed it up over and over. So it's finally growing really good, so I'm gonna leave this. I think it'll be okay with the potatoes. I planted potatoes here last year, and the parsley was here, and it was okay. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. But now I'm gonna go through and smooth this bed out a little bit. Okay, I would say that that's good. We got that nice and cleaned up, except for the parsley. I left the parsley. But I'll show you something over here that's really looking pretty and looking good. This is sprouting purple broccoli, and I planted it when I planted my fall garden last year, and it has just taken off recently. Of course, now it's freezing again, but we had some warm weather a little bit and they started sprouting out, so I'm excited to try that one. And so this bed here, this bed, and that third bed down there, those are the beds that are gonna have potatoes. We're in my other beds, so this is gonna be my summer garden where my tomatoes and peppers and things like that go. I've got some cilantro, I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. A bunch of cilantro that's been alive since last August. It survived the winter, which is great. And then the other beds where I'm gonna plant the potatoes, that's gonna be my spring garden where I plant potatoes and cucumbers and things like that. And then when those are up in approximately June or July, maybe August, then I'll plant my fall garden over there. But this one will stay all summer into the fall with the tomatoes. So that's why I brought the green onions over here. I got these right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and start getting these in the ground. Okay, we can move on to the next bed. I think I got this one. Okay, I think we can get one more bed. I got those put into 3 of the beds. And I have more seeds of green onions, so when I plant my tomatoes, I'll just throw some more seeds out for the rest of the beds that I didn't get to transplant any to. I'm ready to plant my potatoes now. So I did get these at Tractor Supply. I didn't order them online because they were kind of expensive to order online. But this one is Yukon Gold. And so I'm gonna open this up and we're gonna see what kind of eyes we have on these potatoes. Got my scissors and my knife to cut them. Well, let's see, let's open this up. So we got some pretty good eyes going on. This is the part that, like, you could cut it right here. And then there's a couple of baby ones. Let's see another potato. So yeah, this one has a good bit. So I'll cut this chunk, then I'll cut right here this chunk, I'll cut this one, and I'll cut this one, and even right here there's a little one. So that's what you can do. You can cut these and then plant them. But I'm gonna go through the whole garden bed and dig trenches right beside each other, and then we'll put the potatoes in. Okay, so this is what it looks like. We've got quite a few little trenches here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through and we're gonna put the potatoes in those trenches, and then we're gonna cover it. So you plant the eye, which is this, facing up. I'm gonna take the eye and point it up. I think I'm putting about 4 in each row. This is a 4-foot row. We wanna make sure that it's deep enough so when it grows up, it has enough space, because there has to be enough dirt on top of the potato for it to actually grow those tubers under the dirt. And I do come out after they grow a certain amount, and I will throw some more compost on them. So that bag's gone. Part of my thyme was kind of rooted over in the row over there, because thyme roots when it crawls out. So I'm gonna go plop this in a pot. Got the last of the Yukon Gold potatoes planted. I think the rest of them that I have are Russet, so I'm gonna go ahead and cover these rows back up. Those potatoes are done. Now I need to move on. Now I need to move on to this bed and plant potatoes. So I'm gonna go through and do the same thing. Dig the trenches, put the potatoes in, and then cover the trenches. I got all these trenches dug. So I did this one bed here, and I also did this other bed because we're gonna have 3 beds of potatoes. So I trenched this one, trenched the other one. We already did this one right here. So let's get the potatoes in this one. Okay, these are a kind of russet. They're Russet Norcota. I mean, that's just what they had at Tractor Supply, so I like russet potatoes, so we're gonna get these in the ground. Okay, I've got a couple left over in this bag, so I'm just gonna put them in the other bed over here. Last bed of potatoes. So all that's left to do is go through both of these beds and cover them back up. Cover up the potatoes. Now my hands are super dirty. We gotta go to the other bed and do the same thing. We're all done. Potatoes is a dirty job. I could have worn gloves. So what I'll probably do is when it warms up outside and these start popping out of the ground, I'll go ahead and cover them again, just that one time. And then in between the rows, I'll plant green beans, because green beans and potatoes do good together. So that's what I'll do come in spring when it's time to start planting other crops when the cold weather is gone. So once these are up to a certain height, you know, not much, but when I can see the rows, that's when I'll plant green beans. So that's all we had to do out here today. Hopefully these potatoes do well and they grow really good for us. This is the first time I've devoted 3 beds to potatoes. Usually I only do 1, but that's just not a lot of potatoes, and we use potatoes frequently. So I'm gonna try to see if these 3 beds will do really good this year, and hopefully we'll get lots of potatoes. Thanks for watching. Talk to y'all next time.